Hello there, fine gentlemen. Welcome to the second battle between Moussolini and Zeke. We're gonna switch factions. Mussolini's up in the matchup 1-0, and now he's gonna be in charge of Pontus, while Zeke is gonna take upon Greece. Actually, he's gonna take charge of Greece. So anyway, let's go to the game, and let's look at the armies. For Mussolini, we got 4 bronze shields, gold, peasant unit in the front. I already explained in the last battle why peasants are useful. We got 6 archers, gold. We got 3 Cappadocians with 6 upgrades. The general is among them. We have 2 chariot archers, 3 upgrades, and then we have 3 Pontic light cav, which is Jav cav as well, gold. So an interesting army. We'll see how it works out for Mussolini. Now let's look at Zeke's army. And for what it seems, he brought the exact same army than Mussolini brought in the last battle. Except that instead of having 4 Jav cav or 4 militia cav, we have only 3 militia cav and 2 Greek cav. That's the only difference. Everything else is the same. 6 armor hoplites, 4 archers, 4 Rhodian slingers, 4 Cretans, and a Spartan general with no upgrades. I mean, Spartan unit, he's not the general. Where is the general? The general is right there in an armored hoplite unit. Okay. Alright. So, something that I forgot to mention in the previous battle is that how this matchup is usually played. Well, let me tell you something. Of course, Pontus has a clear skirmish advantage. Pontus is one of the best factions to skirmish in 15k CWB. It's probably up there with Egypt. Egypt is by far the best skirmish faction, but Pontus is right up there. They got Jav cav and they got chariot archers, which is pretty damn good combination for skirmishing. On the other side, Greece has Jav cav, which is an ideal unit to counter skirmishing, because these javelins can do quite a lot of damage to chariots if they're not, if they're just like stationary, if they're not in containment circle. They do quite some damage to chariots, and you could even charge, if you get gold militia cav, you could charge them against 1 chariot archer and you'll probably beat it. It depends on the stamina, it depends on the morale of the units at that point, it depends a little bit on the upgrades, but just know it's possible. If the circumstances are right, you can do that. So definitely militia cav is a great way to counter chariot archers and just skirmish in general. Now, Greece does have a disadvantage. It's an advantage and a disadvantage at the same time. The advantage is that they have slingers, and slingers, like I said in the previous battle, is probably the best unit in the game. This elite slingers, such as Rhodian slingers, are probably the best unit in the game to counter either chariot archers or horse archers, such as chariot archers in this case. The problem is that this is infantry, and of course the chariot archers are going to be much more mobile, so you kind of have to play on the defense. You cannot just go out and chase that unit around with your slingers, because it'll get charged by other cavalry and it would get destroyed. The other thing is that you have to protect the slingers. These units you don't have to protect them. You just leave them in skirmish mode and they'll just back up immediately. So those are kind of the pros and the cons of bringing this. But definitely the best option that Greece has at countering skirmish, this slingers. And note another thing. Last battle I was talking about the terrain and how the swamp area, the swamp patches slow down units. If you notice Zeke's deployment, he's right in front of the swamp. What does this do? Well, what this does is that it's going to make Mussolini think twice before he goes into the swamp and tries to surround him. Trying to bring units on this side is going to be very risky for Mussolini, because they're just going to be slowed down, and that's going to make them easier targets for the slingers, the Cretans, and the light cav as well. So that's using the terrain to your advantage, and this is probably the only thing that the only terrain advantage you can have in Grassy Flatlands. Probably about it, and you don't always have it. In this case you do, because the map is huge. Why? Because we have 5 people watching this game. So of course the computer doesn't know that they're just spectators, so it just assumes they're extra players, so it makes the map larger. And larger maps usually favor skirmish factions because they have a longer, like a bigger area to skirmish and retreat. You know, just to keep pushing back the army, just to keep pushing back their skirmish units. If you play in a tiny map, they really have not a whole lot of area to run, and they'll eventually go into the red line, and they're easy targets. When they hit that red line, the skirmish button just turns stupid and starts just messing up the unit. So anyways, this is a much shorter battle. It's almost 4 times shorter than the previous one, so that's good. It's going to fast forward to where the action begins. And Zeke actually wasting some ammunition on this peasants. That's one of the things, you know, even top players miss this sometimes. That's why it's a great idea to bring peasants. They're such a cost-effective unit for 100 denarii, and the things that you could potentially do with them, they're just a must in this kind of battles. So here come the chariot archers. Zeke immediately reacting to it, coming forward with the Rhodian slingers. That's his best counter to them. And there goes the first volley. Let's see if he kills one of those. And no, he didn't manage to kill one. Nope, nothing went down. But you definitely don't want to test these Rhodians. You don't want to put them to the test because they'll destroy your unit. Also note that in the previous battle, it was Zeke with this formation of archers. Now it's Moussolini. Like I said, it's not that they don't know the formation. It's just that with Greece you cannot quite do it because you don't have the infantry battlefront lengthwise to do it. You don't want to leave your archers unprotected on the sides. Pontus can do this because they have the skirmish and the cavalry advantage, so they don't have to worry about getting charged as much as Greece does. So that's why he has to stay with this kind of close formation for the archers, and that's something that Pontus needs to exploit. Definitely go for the archer fight at the right time. You know, there's no need to rush it if you're still skirmishing. There's no need to try to overdo something. You know, don't try to do too much. Just keep it simple. But down the road, that's something that when the archer fight comes, it's gonna give the upper hand to Pontus. So another thing that's noteworthy here, and actually I'm going to pause the video to explain this real quick. I don't want to miss any action, so I'm just going to pause it to tell you this. Look at Mussolini's actions. What he's doing is he's skirmishing on both sides. He basically split up his skirmish, and he's using some on the left and some on the right. That, my friends, is the best way to do it. Why is it not always done? Because it takes a lot of micro. You have to be a very good player. You have to have great micro, unit control, map awareness, a lot of things that have to be going on for you to be able to do this. Most of the times, what you will see is people just blobbing up all the skirmish on one side. Like you'll see the 2 chariot archers here and the 4 or 3 or 4 Ponti light cav behind them, and side chariots are cav. Like they'll just go for one side. I mean, it's not like that's bad. It still does the job well, and the reason they do that is because it's easier to command everything when it's on one side, when you only have to focus on one side. When you focus on both, it's harder, but more effective. But nobody, I mean, not everyone can do it. So definitely something you should practice if you want to get better at this game. That's something that it's worth practicing, you know? Just try to skirmish on both sides of the army. It will be more effective, and also if your opponent doesn't have as good micro as you do, well then you got the upper hand right off the bat, because not only I mean, it's not only you who's gonna have to manage both sides, but it's him having to defend from both sides. You know, when you only attack from one side, you make the defense easier for him because he only has to worry about one side. So that's definitely something you wanna practice and you wanna get good at. So some more skirmishing. These spikes are gold, so they'll definitely last longer than they did in the last battle, which they had only 4 upgrades, I think. So these ones, they have less numbers but more upgrades. And well, you know, in this game, quality beats quantity most of the times, at least in these scales, you know. So definitely probably a better idea to bring this. The one thing I wasn't very familiar with was this 3 Cappadocian cav. With all these spikes, you might be wondering it's not probably a good idea to bring heavy cavalry, but I mean, I've never used it, but it could definitely pay off. You saw what the heavy cav did in the last battle. It pretty much, one single unit cleared up the whole archer line for Moussolini. Or no, actually it was Zeke who was commanding Pontus last battle. He cleared up all of Mussolini's archer line with one single Cappadocian unit. And that's something, that's actually something. Because if you destroy the archers, then you turn the tide of the battle. Because, you know, then Grease will be fighting your infantry as Pontus with only infantry, while you will be fighting his infantry with your infantry plus support from the archers, who could be firing from the sides or from behind, and those fire arrows will make all the difference. So usually people try to kill archers with light cav, but since Grease also has light cav, I think that's the reason why Moussolini decided to bring heavy cav, so he can so Grease cannot just only like try to counter your light cav with his light cav, and it will be an even contest. If he tries to do that against Cappadocians, he's gonna get slaughtered. So I think that's one use I see to bringing these 3 units, and he's definitely, I think that's what it is, because that's what we're seeing. You know, we're not seeing him try to charge the phalanx or anything. We're actually seeing him try to go in the rear and take out some archers. So the light cav just moving around the map, and here comes the first charge. And this is what I was talking about. The Greek cav against the Cappadocians. By themselves they're not going to win, but now that the Spartans are here, Zeke has to bring down those spears to stand any chance of beating this Cappadocians. He doesn't do it, and Moussolini just pulls out of this engagement. In the meantime, he's still moving units around, charging the archers. He's not making them rad because it's a light cav, but if he can open up gaps to give way to the Cappadocians to get a charge in, they'll probably rout any archers or slingers. The light cav fighting on the back. I think Mussolini's got the upper hand, but here comes a countercharge for Zeke, and he might, who knows who's that gonna go to. And this is what I was talking about, the Cappadocian getting a gap and managing to charge the Cretans, losing 17 men. And now the Cappadocians just killing more archers on this side. The general getting stuck in there. He's trying to take out this unit. He's just blobbing up his 3 Cappadocians units, but he's not going to manage to rout it. Those armored hoplites are pretty tough. And you cannot linger too long, because like I said, Cappadocians don't have the armor-piercing ability to take out heavy armored units like hoplites. So it seems Moussolini won this skirmish fight. Actually, it might have been Zeke. Actually, Zeke won it. He routed those 2 units. This one was left here, and he's going to bring it back and try to kill archers. He's trying to even things out. But now we're going to see the pressure from Moussolini with the infantry fight. Normally you wouldn't do this, but because you have 3 Cappadocians being able to hammer an anvil, then it's possible. And actually, Moussolini managed to rout a unit from Zeke on contact. That was pure morale drop. The unit still has plenty of men. He's up to 22, but just the fact that they got surrounded and charged from behind made them rout. And here comes the hammer and anvil. This is pretty much Mussolini's only hope of breaking Greece's infantry line. His archers are pretty much gone. He's got probably 2 or 3 left, and they're kind of depleted. So definitely this is his one and only chance. Here come the hammer and anvil again. The bronze shields just hanging in there. They're not gonna be able to beat the Greeks by themselves, but with the help of Cappadocians they just might. And actually Zeke has to turn around his units, and this is where he might lose this battle, because he turned his units to face that charge from the Cappadocians, but that means he exposed the back of his soldiers to the pikes, and that's just deadly. As you can see, all these hoplites that died right here were because he turned around to face a charge from the Cappadocians. So a lot of very intensive micro going on in this small part of the map where the infantry battle is going on. Moussolini getting more charges and more charges. They're not doing enough damage, and there it goes, the first unit for Greece. Actually the second one, because the first one routed before this battle, this infantry battle started. The Spartan unit not facing where he should be facing. He should be using it more actively. And there it goes, he brings it back to the fight. Let me see, there's some archers here he's bringing them around, try to shoot from the backs, trying to get some fire arrows. We're seeing some fire arrows for Greece, from Greece. But unfortunately he's not shooting at the backs of the Pontus infantry line. He's actually shooting at the backs of his own units, so that could backfire on him. And Zeke still got some Greek cav. He should be doing some hammer and anvil with those. And there goes the general. That might break it for Pontus. That might break it for Pontus. And let me look at their morale. Yeah, they're unhappy. Unhappy. Yeah, these units are probably going to break very soon. That general dead is probably what's going to break this line. And here comes our hammer and anvil, and this might do it for Zeke. He loses one unit. There goes the first, the second one, and then the third one. There it goes. And with that hammer and anvil, he managed to kill all was left for Pontus. And those pikes held pretty damn well. I mean, for holding this much and almost killing off all of Greece's infantry, those pikes fought really well. But eventually, the Spartans and the hoplites proved to be too much for Pontus. So that's a great game, great micro in this part of the battle, and also in skirmish. Do remember what I told you. That's something you want to be practicing in your future battles. A lot of spectators here again. So anyway, that's 1-1. Zeke just tied up the score, and now we're going to switch factions completely. We got the other two battles for you. Follow the links. Keep watching these two titans go at each other. Thank you for watching.